It's Friday, May 16th, 2025, and I'm in my garage. I'm gonna get ready for my first fishing trip of the year. Most of my trips, I'm a little scatterbrained. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I approach sort of every year like this, where I'm just like, okay, how do I do this again? I've been meaning to go fishing for for 2 of the last 3 weeks, and every time I've decided to go, it snowed, and so I haven't gone. This weekend, tomorrow is not going to be too dissimilar to that, in that we've had beautiful weather for like a week now, and a cold front is moving in tonight, and so where it's been like 55 where I'm going, it's going to be 40 tomorrow with a 40% chance of rain. So it's going to be wet, and well, it's going to potentially be wet and miserable. I'm sure the cold front is probably going to put the fish down, but I'm going to go out anyway because I need to get out. Haven't been out for, geez, almost 6 months now. Yeah, and I'm going a little crazy. So, like every trip, I'm just like, okay, I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's gonna be cold tomorrow, so I've got to wrap my head around wearing some warm clothes. And since it's gonna rain, I also need to wrap my head around trying to be as waterproof as possible. My biggest concern is gonna be my hands when they get wet and cold. That's tough. From the satellite images, there's still snow on the ground where I'm going, so I'll probably be bringing my snowshoes just in case. So yeah, I'll have my pack on me tomorrow, and I'll probably have a lot of stuff on me so that I can layer up and remove stuff as needed. Now, once I get all this stuff packed, then I'm just gonna go to bed. But true to form, I don't have any food for tomorrow, so I'll probably boil some eggs tonight, and I think I've got some dates, and that'll probably be my lunch, and then maybe bring some bars and stuff to snack on during the day. So this is all my stuff laid out so I can see it. If I was going for a backpacking trip, I'd have a checklist and I'd go and check everything off. The one thing that's missing here is my gray oil filter. Grabbed my gray oil filter, and I should be good to go. Like I said, if this was a backpacking trip, I'd be going through my checklist. I'm not going to do that for tomorrow's trip. I'm just going to hope that I remembered everything that I needed. Got my bag full of warm clothes, got my Crocs, my SOL Escape bivy, my bag with my down jacket and my rain jacket, extra pair of gloves. Also got an extra pair of gloves in this bag. I've got my trowel and my TP. The desiccant will go in my fishing bag, and all of this stuff will go into my pack. I've got my mosquito net just in case. Knife will go on the hip. Trekking poles and fishing poles will go in the car. Hat will go on my head. The waders and the gaiters will go in the bag. I'll make a determination tomorrow whether I'm going to put them in my bag or not. I've got my snowshoes, and again tomorrow I'll make the determination of whether I need them. And then I've got my jackets there. I guess the one thing that I don't have, that I didn't pull out, are my boots. So let me go grab my boots. Okay, and now I've got my boots. Now I thought that they were Vasca, but they are Technica. I just tried them on. They still fit. These have got to be, geez, I think I bought these in the early 90s, and looks like the rubber's still good, so I think I'll be able to use those no problem. I've also got these. This is what I typically use for snow, and these are over boots. So these are Neos over boots. They're French. They're also probably 20 or 30 years old, and they just fit right over your shoes. So they're convenient because you can just step right in and step right out of them. Okay, so that's everything I'm going to bring tomorrow. Again, a little overkill, but when I get there, I'll decide what I need to bring with me to actually fish with. And hopefully I'll have enough stuff here that get rained on, get snowed on, whatever, I can stay warm and dry. So it's about, what is it, 6:45, and I'm about 45 minutes away. I left the house at about 4:45, and it's only about a 3-hour drive up here. It looks like the weather's getting a little bit worse. It looks fine now, but the forecast is for it to be worse than initially forecast. I was expecting 40s, and it's looking like it's going to get below 40 with the rain coming in sometime between noon and 2 o'clock. I did some last minute packing. I grabbed another wool jersey, grabbed my wool buff, and grabbed some glove liners for my gloves. So it's a pretty nice drive from my house to South Lake Tahoe, and surprisingly right now there's nobody on the road, maybe because it's so early, but I would have expected to have, you know, a little bit more company than I do. Okay, so Chris and I are at Red Lake. It is super windy, so I'm just going to throw just a couple casts just to do it, just to tick off that box, and then we're going to head someplace less windy. Okay, pretty windy here. Let's see what's going on. Oh, it looks like there's a fence down here now. Well, this is odd. So there's a fence down here, I guess, preventing the fish from going downstream. Huh. seeing any fish in there. Okay, so we're gonna move on to someplace that's a little less windy. I mean, I could, wind or not, I could probably keep going. You know, just because the big fish draw is there. But I'm sure after an hour or so, it'd probably get pretty frustrating. On the drive up, I passed the East Fork of the Carson, and it wasn't windy there. So I think that's where we're gonna go. Yeah, so definitely a different experience than the last time I was here. You know, when I was here last time, I was able to fish that creek. That fence wasn't there. I guess for some reason they don't want the fish going down there to spawn. I guess, I don't really know. It seems a bit strange to me. My whole plan was to fish up to the inlet, and the inlet is on the far side of the lake, of course. And now we're climbing out and we're going someplace else. The road is not terrible. You do need to have a little bit of elevation in your vehicle though. Although I still could have made it down here in my Corolla. Okay, we've come down and now I think we're on the West Fork of the Carson. Fishing over by the handicap ramp. So I've got my overboots on, and you know, they're probably 25 years old, and the plastic on them is brittle, and so a piece just broke off. I think they installed the fishing platforms basically where I used to fish, and there wasn't a road here at the time. Okay, so hopefully this works out pretty well. I've got a new collar on today. So, some guys fishing upstream that caught some fish. This actually used to be my favorite section. I'm gonna start right in here. I can't help myself. That used to be my favorite hole before all this stuff was here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's where I'm gonna start. So I'm going to start here underneath this bridge, and even though it's probably, you know, vastly overfished, I learned to fly fish on this stream, and at the time, you know, none of this stuff was here. As I said, this was one of my favorite holes, so it always produced. So let's see what we can do today. I'm going to put on, I've got a Gold Ribs hare's ear on, and below that I'm going to put on a small 18 regular Gold Ribs hare's ear. Okay, so I'm going to stand behind this rock and make my first couple casts in tight. And if I don't hang up everywhere on this stuff I have with me, what the heck is going on? Okay. And then I'll progressively get farther out and closer to that pocket water there. I really, you know, there'll be fish sitting in here in the back of this run behind the rocks and stuff, but there should be fish like right there in the center, right at the little tail out of that pocket water, as well as in the pocket water itself. Can I make a cast? I can. So I'll cast out, do some high sticking here. Okay. One thing I definitely don't have that I had back then was patience. I don't have the patience to hammer this water if I'm not immediately into fish. I guess that comes with confidence. Although I am pretty confident that there should be fish in here, but it probably gets hit pretty hard. Oh, would you look at this? Looks like the rest of the overboots are cracking as well. Yeah, see that how brittle that is? Ah, that's a shame. I better pull the other one off before I ended up losing it. So we're going to head downstream first and then make our way up. I don't know how much water there is to fish down here. We'll see. I kind of remember it, a lot of it being frog water, being better for, you know, late afternoon, early evening dry fly fishing. Yeah, and I said frog water, but no, just slow meandering stream is more like it. I think there's a riffle down here that I can throw a few casts in. Yeah, maybe I'll throw it in behind that rock, and then upstream through this riffle here. Yeah, that looks like it could produce. Yeah, you know what? Why don't we start over on this bend? I think that would probably be a good idea. Let's start in the middle, because I could keep going down, down, down. This could be decent. The water's off color, so I don't think I'm going to be sight fishing today. As always, without an indicator, I'm gonna have to catch up. Ah! Okay, a little bit more going on there than I had expected. Not terribly deep. Okay, so unless I see fish, when I'm prospecting, I'm just gonna throw like a half a dozen casts into an area and then move on. I'm keeping my keeping a lot of flat line on the water, just because I'm fishing out ahead of me. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. This looked like it might have been a good spot, but it's pretty shallow and I didn't see any fish. So let's get up behind this rock. Let's see what I can do here. Might pay to be a little bit more stealthy. Okay. Keep some line off the water. Drift it down and away from me. You know, maybe getting my waders, putting my waders on would not be a bad idea. Just to be able to get a little bit closer. Oh, my sole has just come off. Yeah, these boots are okay. Gonna try to get underneath that rock. Okay, so I've put on another fly, which is making it a little bit easier for me to get down more directly. It's gonna increase my chances of hanging up, of course, but right now my issue is getting down, especially with the wind. Now you can see I keep this little bend in the rod because of the wind. The wind is blowing it, so I'm just trying to get as natural a drift as I can, even though I've got to deal with the wind. Not sure I'm succeeding, but but that's why you practice. I've got 2 heavy flies on right now. Okay, let's move up. No, I should not have done that. I let my fly hang in the water, and with the weighted flies, they hung up on the tree that I hung up on earlier. And are they free? They are free. Whew. Already lost 2 flies to that bush. Okay, let's see. Water's moving fast. Drifts aren't great. Okay, I'm gonna try to get in over by that pocket and see if I can get a drift in there. Almost. Get. Not quite. And this is why you check your gear before going out. My overshoes, they're old, and looks like I need to put some rubber cement or something on them. I'm gonna go back to the car and change. I kind of want to put my waders on. Okay, so heading back to the car so I can get rid of my overboots, and I think I'm going to grab my waders so that I can actually wade and short line some of these pockets, because I'm not getting any I'm not getting a decent drift at all. So I need to manage a shorter line since I'm not using an indicator. So we are off again. Okay, so all changed out. I've got my Crocs on, I've got my waders on. I'm coming down here below the bridge, only because we haven't fished it yet, and I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure it's like an overfished spot, but what the heck. I'll fish, I'll throw about a half dozen casts in here, and then I'll head upstream. Now, this is definitely not wilderness fishing, and you know, if the weather hadn't been threatening, you know, there's a bunch of lake options that we could go to, as well as some backcountry stream options that would be good for Lahontan's and such. But given the weather that may or may not be on its way, this is probably, you know, hanging out close to the road is probably what it's going to be. There are a few other lakes that we can drive to. Don't know what, oh, that was a fish. Don't know what that's going to be like. Now, one of the things that I like to do, especially when I'm fishing far away from me, when I'm not fishing with an indicator, is I just like to have that straight line on the water. I've got that little red section. You know, I could be pulling line off the water, but I found that if I, you know, just try to keep parallel to the fly, I'll get strikes that way, I'll get takes. So that's what I'm doing. Short lining it would be the better way to go, and we'll see if I can get into some pocket water upstream. Maybe that'll bode better. So I'm really just sort of hoping these fish are a little active and just swinging this fly through this area. Chris has got an indicator on, so I'm sure he'll pick up some. He'll get into some action. Okay, this is more my speed. Short lining in pocket water. You know, it's funny. I've had like a 6-month layoff, and you get on the water and it's just like everything just sort of feels wrong. And by that I mean, you know what you're supposed to be doing, but your body just doesn't do it in the way that you want it to. You know, your coordination is sort of lacking. Okay. Get up a little closer to that pocket behind that rock. I haven't waded in a long time. Well, doesn't look like there's anything there for me. No. Oh well. Slowly but surely, though, it all comes back to you. You know? Slowing down, gotta slow everything down, slow the nymph down, get a decent drift through there. It's not terrible. I should probably strike on that. And I've been trying to do tuck casts, but I just can't get them today. There we go. That's not so bad. Okay, time to move upstream. Try in here real quick. I'm not seeing any fish. Right through there, nada. Okay, well that's a pretty good spot. We get nothing, so head upstream. That looks like a great little hole, but I'll leave it for the folks on the podium to fish. Maybe we can find one like that farther upstream. Dang, it's thick in here. I should have brought a bigger knife. It makes me think I don't have any large stainless knives that I can think of. So heading upstream. Actually, you know, it might be nice if I could find a nice slow pocket, slow deep pocket, and I could get a really concentrated drift in there. That would be nice. You know, with this cold temperature, especially with the front moving in, these fish may not be hanging out in this fast water. Okay, we got more pocket water. I wonder where Chris is. He said he was going to come up 100 yards or so. This doesn't look too bad, especially that tail out. Looks deep though. Glad I got my waders on. Oh, there's somebody there. Where's Chris? There's Chris. I'm gonna see how he's doing. The wind down here has picked up. I can't imagine what it's like on the lake now, but it's gotten pretty breezy here. Okay, it looks like there's a small confluence up there, so maybe I'll start from back here and work my way up. And casting is tough. Wind is right in my face. See if there's anything going on here. So big deep bend, maybe if I can get it get a cast out more than 10 feet in front of me. I got my 5-weight in the car. I'm gonna have to break that out. You know, it's funny because you kind of come out here. Did I just break off? No, I didn't. And it's been so long, and the motions don't feel natural. I kind of feel like an imposter today. You know? Keep telling myself, keep my elbow in. So we're back at the car, and the wind was getting to be a little bit much, so we're going to try to find someplace else. Got ye old DeLorme, and just going to take a gander at the map and pick a spot. Okay, so we've decided to hit the East Walker. So we're getting back in our cars. We're gonna head down to Bridgeport. So we're finally here at the East Walker, and we've pulled over. We keep going to different spots. It's a little crowded, but I'm absolutely dead. I'm tired, and there were a couple times on the drive here where I felt like I needed to pull over. So I'm gonna take a nap. Chris is gonna do whatever he's gonna do, and I'm gonna be here. And yeah, we'll see. I mean, if the weather comes in, I may not fish, but looks like a pretty good stream, and supposedly it's doing pretty well. So we'll see what happens. We're driving from turnout to turnout, just looking at the water, checking to see, you know, if there are already people there or not. This looks like nice water.
Yeah, it looks real nice all the way up and down.
That looks really good. So apparently this is what's known as the Magic Mile on the East Walker. I'm gonna try to get up here a little bit upstream. Traipsing through water though. Interesting. Okay, I'm not going that way. I'm too tired to deal with all this brush. And all that sucking mud is not good for my Crocs. So try to find another way around. Well, I was going to leave this water to Chris, but since there doesn't seem to be a stealthy way to get upstream, and he seems to be content heading downstream, I'm going to go ahead and fish this. No doubt this is a fishy spot. I think I'm gonna head upstream. Okay, first fish of the year, and it looks like he's foul hooked. Put that away. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, he probably went after the bigger fly. Little rainbow. Well, when the wind's down, I can actually get a decent drift through here. Whoops, looked down at the camera, wasn't paying attention. Halfway decent drifts. So as the day progresses, I am feeling better about my drifts, which is a good thing. Although I'm really surprised that I'm not picked anything up under this tree. Okay, well, it's almost 5 o'clock, and I think we're gonna call it. I kind of want to get up and over Sonora Pass before it gets too cold, and I'm gonna be out here next weekend. Right, next weekend is the Mammoth trip, and I'll have plenty of time to spend in the Eastern Sierra. So yeah, today didn't quite pan out the way that I thought it would be. I mean, I thought what might happen is we might get up to Red Lake and get rained out, and then I would just, you know, head home early, like 2, 3 in the afternoon, stop by and see my parents, all that kind of stuff. But nope, here I am in the Eastern Sierra. So yeah, interesting day. Got to fish 3 different waters: Red Lake, West Fork of the Carson, and here the East Walker. Yeah, foul hooked a fish. I was able to get the rust off. I mean, early in the day, fishing those streams, didn't really feel real comfortable with my casts and my drifts and everything else. But by the end of the day here, you know, one of the reasons why I'm feeling okay leaving at 4:45 is, you know, I went through a pretty good run with some pretty good drifts, and the only thing I ended up with was foul hooking a fish. So you know, the fish may be active, but I feel like I gave it a pretty good shot, and so just gonna head home. If you followed along to this point, thank you for that. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for coming along.
The hills are calling, where the lakes are my home. Leave the stress behind, find peace in my mind. With the still water flowing, lines I'm throwing. Loneliness is not here, there is life everywhere.